Can't believe it. Our next adventure is going to cost us 5 times our current monthly expenses. Holy dooly, you still want to do it? All right, so I know you've been waiting to hear what the next big adventure is, but we'll reveal it in a moment because we actually have a little bit of a story to tell. There's been lots of thought processes around what is next. So we wanted to share some of those ideas that we've had around what the next adventure will be in order to get to what the decision has been and how quickly that decision has come about, because it really only came to even our awareness of being a possibility mid-December 2024. So it's very new and exciting at the moment. Hopefully that doesn't wear off. We're making moves already. But ultimately, Guanajuato, Mexico. In a future video, we'll talk about why, out of all the places in Mexico and all the places of the world that we've traveled to, we've chosen here to be our home base for these last couple of years. But every single time somebody would say to us, so this is where you're settling? This is it? That's the reaction. It's my worst nightmare. So I think you've got to cast your mind back too, because we've been on the move for the past 10 years, literally as turtles with everything we own. Like we literally don't own anything back in Australia other than maybe some old photo albums. You know, remember those
police
things,
badges and stuff.
and some police badging and bits and pieces. But other than that, we literally own nothing. And so we did carry every single thing on our back for 10 years all around the world, which was amazing. But when COVID hit, we obviously landed here. It was, we could get a 6-month visa. We'll wait this thing out, then we'll get back on the road again, and here we still are. But I think in that process, Jodie in particular realised that she really liked having a home base. I liked having a 𝗪𝗔𝗡𝗪𝗘, but Jodie liked having an entire house full of stuff.
So the journey actually went from carrying everything that we owned in, wheelie bags or backpacks or whatever it is, to buying a car. We've got a little VW Polo, and the reason for that actually is another story, but we got a car. We've driven it from the Caribbean side of Mexico right across to the Pacific side of Mexico, and I tell you what, it was fantastic having a large suitcase, like a suitcase on 4 wheels that we could get inside of as well. And Nat's NutriBullet was there, all of her smoothie bits and pieces, all these wonderful things. Extra pairs of shoes. That was really nice too.
Lots of extra shoes.
Carrying a hairdryer, stuff like that.
Just the basics, really.
It was sort of going from that. We were still house sitting all the way around the country. And then when we came here and decided to rent, originally the idea was to help out our friends because they needed a place to rent. We're like, well, maybe we just all go in together because we're going to travel and you're going to travel. Turned out to be just our place, which is totally fine. But the trips that I've done since we've had that home base have honestly been life-changing for me. To get on a plane and fly to Europe, Australia, the United States, I've pretty much been around the world, but just with carry-on luggage, mind-blowing, like amazing. I loved every second of it. So that's why I wanted to keep doing, let's have a home base so that every time we travel, I don't have to carry too much.
Yeah, so this has been the dilemma of me wanting to get back on the road again and get moving because I just felt we were stale, like I was saying last video. Just wanted to get going, get some more fresh energy in there and stuff. And so, but it had to be balanced out by let's have a home base as well, because we both do. Like I joke around. I do like other things other than my 𝗪𝗔𝗡𝗪𝗏. But yeah, it's really nice to have those creature comforts. We just haven't been able to have those things. And so it really had to be something that balanced both of those things out. It was on the move, but it was also a home base. And so we've considered all sorts of things that are mobile home bases. And so that was sort of our solution, I guess.
So here's the number one. The number one idea we had, which took up sort of, I guess, most of our time since having this home base, was the idea of getting residency in Europe, whether it was like a digital nomad residency and doing like 1 year at a time in a different country. Now, I've become very, very attached to our little car. I love having the freedom of having our own wheels. So then the idea went into, well, how could we buy a car in Europe? And I believe it is possible. Like we've come across an outfit in the Netherlands that allows foreigners to buy camper vans to be able to drive Europe, get insurance, do all that stuff. So I'm assuming that there's got to be something for a straight up vehicle as well. But who knows? Maybe we'll do a camper van thing there one day. I don't know. But it just started to get a little bit hard with the idea of how do you actually get over there? Like how do you Do you just take the minimum and then start afresh over there? It kind of got pushed on the sideline about this time last year, because we are involved in crypto, and we were talking to our crypto community about when to take profits, which is going to happen in 2025. And yeah, basically we started talking about what are our dreams for when we take the profits. And Nat and one of our friends in Western Australia just hooked onto this idea of having residency on a cruise ship.
Well, it's a residential ship. So basically the idea is you buy an apartment on the ship, and the ship just cruises around the world 365 days a year. And it pulls into different ports. It tends to stay longer than a normal cruise ship. Mind you, we have never stepped foot on a cruise ship. Nope. So keep that in mind as we're talking about this, that this was going to be a possibility of buying a unit
of our next adventure.
An apartment on one. Yeah, and everything's provided for you. You have to pay a monthly fee, which we'll talk about. So you buy the apartment, then you pay a monthly fee, but everything else is included. And you're on and off the ship. Obviously, it's pulling into touristy ports, so that was one consideration. The other consideration was that we'd be with the same people all the time, and did we want to do that? We'll be in close quarters with people all the time. Do we want to do that? So there was lots and lots of things to talk about.
And the idea that I came up with was, try before you buy. So it's like, thankfully, this particular residential cruise ship that would make it possible for us to at least try before we die. We buy before we die. Perfect. That one is very affordable, because I have to say Nat's first plan was a $6 million cabin on a ship that hasn't been built yet. This is a luxury penthouse. It is unbelievable. So I'm sure she's still got it on the dream board for at least one day. But anyway, back to affordability level. And
back to reality.
we got in touch with a guy who owns one of the cabins on this particular ship. And we were like, yep, cool. We're going to do it in, April, May or June in 2025. We worked out the cost of it. And it was amazing because he actually has a home base in Mexico as well. But now he's got this cruise ship apartment or cabin as well, and it's awesome. But so I was looking at that going, this is what we're going to do. And then we started doing the sums going, well, it's pretty expensive actually. And we said that our next adventure that we've chosen to do is 5 times our monthly expenses, our current monthly expenses. Well, the cruise ship is 10 times our current monthly expenses. So yeah, maybe the apartment buying or the cabin buying is kind of deemed as relatively affordable, but it's the monthly costs that definitely shake things up.
But the thing that actually has changed that whole thought process right now, and hasn't cancelled it, it's postponed it, I'm still going to keep going for it, is we watched a video, and it was Christmas time, and all the residents on the ship were actually decorating Christmas trees.
For a competition.
And we both sat there independent of each other and went, I don't think that's us.
We can't do that yet.
I don't think we're old enough for that just yet.
And not that the people were old. There were people younger than us in there.
It just wasn't us.
It just wasn't
It just didn't gel with us. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, as much as I really want to travel the world and have a home base and that moves around everywhere, and I think it'll be still amazing, I just don't think it's our age yet.
Not yet. So we're putting that one off for about 20 years. So we've possibly got a 2-decade, separate decade plan. But at the moment, what feels right is the next decade is going to be.
Here we go. Drum roll. Are you ready?
Oh, I just said it.
You didn't build it up enough.
Okay, build it up.
RVing.
We are going to get ourselves a pickup truck. In Australia, we call them a ute. We're going to buy it in Mexico. It will be Mexican plated, because at the end of 2025, we will get our permanent residency here. I will have a whole other how-to video on how we were able to get our 4-year temporary residence without showing any financials. You can do this too, possibly, but that'll be another episode. We'll talk about that. But November 2025, we get permanent residence. We can have a vehicle plated here. We can drive it through the States, Canada, and into Central America.
Yep.
And it just blew our mind, because we could even possibly ship it to South America. I think the car itself would be too big to ship to Europe, but that is not off the table. So we met this German traveller, and he had this massive big camper truck, I suppose
Something
you'd
you would
call
find
it.
in Antarctica.
And just spending a little bit of time with him, it's inspired the hell out of us.
It
And
was amazing.
so different. So when Nat had this like lifelong obsession of getting onto a residential cruise ship, she just couldn't quite sell it to me. I always had sort of a little bit of hesitation around it.
I will though still.
Whereas as soon as I think we thought this independently as well. And after speaking to this traveller who had shipped his truck from Europe to Canada, has done all of North America and Central America, and his next leg is to go to South America. We were just mind blown about this, and the affordability level is actually not too bad, especially when you compare to what we were looking at with the residential cruise ship.
It just got us excited again.
We were both on board.
We were, for the first time, both on board with this. And the good thing is we get to take our home base with us. So finally we have found a solution to traveling, Nat's thing, and home basing, Jodie's thing. And we've been able to merge it together. And it sounds absolutely freaking amazing. I'm so excited about it to just, I don't know, maybe do it for the next 10 years. Like, who knows what we're going to do. But I definitely feel very drawn to the outdoors again. And I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I literally am living and breathing this. I mean, pretty much for the last few weeks, I've had constant dreams. We've been attacking YouTube big time and watching every possible thing. But what we have done is made the decision on what type of travel trailer, or for Australians, caravan, that we'll be looking at, because that's going to help us make the decision on what is the vehicle that we need to get. So we kind of had to start looking at things logistically, mind mapping things out. So we've got a lot to share in future episodes of Nat'n'Jodie's next adventure. But
this
we
is
wanted
given
to...
that we know nothing about RVing.
Well, that's not true. You keep saying that, but it's like we actually have an amazing experience that both of us have travelled like a huge big figure eight through the middle of Australia.
True.
Now we did it in a different way of camping. We were also, over 20 years younger, but I think that's given us a little bit of confidence to be able to go like, no, we're going to actually be towing a trailer, a travel trailer. And we want to also talk about why we're not going to look at a camper van, why we're not going to look at a motorhome. We need to explain what works for us. But we've got all that to share in future episodes. And love to hear your comments on whether you think this is a good idea, whether you think we need to reconsider things. Because, like I said, a lot of things that we need to look at. We will need to register the trailer in the US. So we've got to find a workaround for that, because obviously we're not residents there.
Yep.
But so many little things to share. We can't wait and go on the adventure with you. I just can't believe that on the first day of January, when we put this first video up, we started clearing out our wardrobe.
Jodie went straight to a wardrobe, started clearing it out. I'm like, what on earth are you doing?
Well, then you went to the pantry.
And then I was like, well, I'm in this mode too then. Like, if you can do it, I can do it. So we started cleaning out all our clothes, the pantry. I was like, when are we actually going? Did we say another year?
It may not be that long. We actually even woke up yesterday morning thinking this could possibly happen as soon as June. So we're keep guessing.
Finding ways. This
Anyway.
is typical quick start. It's like, we can't wait a year. That's ridiculous. Who waits a year?
Anyway, if you want to come on the journey with us, subscribe, hit a like button, leave your comments, ask your questions, tell us if we're crazy. I don't know. Do whatever you need to do, and we will see you in the next video.
See you soon.
Bye.